All right, good evening and welcome to Futbol En Vivo on Club Deportes, round 2. I am Eric McCoy. We are airing on clubdeportes.com every Monday at 10 p.m. You can find us on Twitter at Club Deportes and at Futbol Austin, Futbol Austin. I am your host, Eric McCoy, and I am joined by a man who gives away expert football takes the way Marcelo Bielsa teams give away goals. It's David Alvarez, the coach.
¿Cómo estás? Gracias, Eric. Thank you, guys. It's an honor to be here one more time in another edition of Futbol En Vivo so we can talk really quick about what's going on.
Yes. Absolutely. And without further ado, I am also joined by a man who spent his weekend rapidly familiarizing himself with Norwegian center backs. It's Jorge Chavez.
Yes, I did not look at all for Norwegian.
Well, at least one Norwegian center
at least
back.
one.
Okay,
Yeah, at least one.
Okay, so let's not waste any time, you guys. Let's get right down to it. Another week, another show, and another new Austin FC signing to discuss. This time it is, yes, a Norwegian center back, Ruben Gabrielsen, joining the Verde and Black, 29 years old. He comes to Austin FC, most recently with Toulouse, a club in the French second division. Now, us three here, we have all highlighted center back as a key area that needed reinforcing by Austin FC this offseason. I'm going to start with you, Jorge. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on the arrival of Gabrielsen?
Not that impressed, to be honest.
Wow.
I like his size. 6'2" is kind of the ideal for
Did
a
you
center
like
back.
his picture, his very ripped kind of bulging bicep photo
that thing
they
must
came
have been
across?
photoshopped because obviously when they sign a new player, you.
I think they may have actually put my picture on instead of his.
I think that was a Twitter. Yeah,
a bit of a
that was a
mix-up.
Twitter joke because everybody did say the same thing.
Absolutely.
But I guess he's fine. I expected a little bit more of a flashier signing, a little bit of more of a well-known quality type player. But we'll see. Honestly, I don't know that much about him. I know that he played a couple of times with the Norwegian national team. In fact, he was captain for one of those games. I think it was the UEFA 2020, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll reserve judgment.
Okay, so Jorge is not particularly impressed, but you, David, I know before the show, you've been doing some just research in general on Norway. You pointed out Oslo is the capital of Norway for those that aren't aware.
of course,
Oslo
but
is the capital, and you are more of a fan of this signing.
Well,
than
it's
Jorge.
not as. Come on, I mean, we know what I think about what we need to do with Josh Wolf and all of the.
Asking about Ruben Gabrielsen.
Did you say anything bad about our beloved leader?
Okay, so actually, I have a question for you, though. So, Gabrielsen comes to Austin FC via Toulouse, but actually, he is Norwegian, spent quite a bit of time at Norwegian Giants Molde. And while he was there, he actually played under a coach that I know you're a huge fan of.
Yeah.
And that's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, dearly departed Manchester United manager. So do you think, while under Solskjaer, he really picked up some just strong tactical acumen? Is that fair to say?
No. What he got from him was he was like a everyday coach that let the players play free, but he was in 90. He played 24 hours and was dedicated to soccer. But he really appreciate him as a coach, as a leader that everybody respected and everybody loved. So that was very, very emotional that he was saying that, and the fact that he plays for the Norwegian team twice, that makes him somebody important. I mean, and also just the fact to have somebody like that came from
the vaunted Norwegian national team. That's significant that he played twice for them.
Well, it doesn't matter. But I'm talking about he played with Haaland. He's playing with all the golden generation of Norway is playing right now. So we have to think. He's playing with that, and the big reach of the hand of Austin FC can go all over the world. It's like. That's not a small thing to go all the way to France and Norway, or even have a player, not very good player, move to River Plate. In South America, it's like all over the world. So you can see the impact of Austin FC. I mean, despite what he's going to do, he just tell you.
David, I'd say I'm less interested in the impact of Austin FC globally and more interested in the impact in MLS, and specifically the impact of them moving up the MLS standing.
But you know what I think about it? I mean, he's gonna make a difference. Oh, of course, he's gonna make it 6-2. He actually scored a couple goals with Toulouse, more than he'd scored years before. So he could definitely be a bigger weapon here. People are not as tall, so we need somebody like that, the center forward that can also score.
Absolutely.
That's what we need.
I actually am going to more align myself with you on Gabrielsen, David. It's difficult to really assess when we're talking about how is someone going to come from the French second division over to MLS. Difficult to kind of determine how that move is going to take place. But just kind of looking at his numbers, watching some of the highlights, he does appear to be a very big center back, 6'2", obviously, but very quick as well. He actually came up as a winger, he said. And just kind of going over some of the numbers, you don't get a ton of numbers from the French second division, but WhoScored.com did have some numbers from his time in Malta. And during the 2016 and 2017 seasons, he was averaging about 2.6 tackles and interceptions per 90 minutes. So that suggests he is a very proactive defender. And I think that's what this Austin FC team needs more than anything, is a center back who is aggressive and can defend in space, because it's an Austin FC team that loves to have the ball, love to possess the ball high up the pitch. And so you need center backs who can track back and make tackles in space. And again, I'm going off like a 1.5 minute YouTube highlight video, but it looked pretty good. It was an impressive minute and a half that I saw on Gabrielsen.
Is a midfield defender midfielder too?
He did play some time
and
in
as
midfield.
A winger. So we have, he ended up playing as a center back in the national team. When he was playing in the youth national team, that's when he got that position, as center back. But he obviously he can play in different areas too. So in the back. So
Jorge, are David and I changing your mind at all?
A little bit, in the sense that in MLS, height matters, especially at center back, and he's got the height, he's got the speed for it. So I don't want to demean MLS, but it wouldn't be that big of a change or challenge for him to go from second division France to MLS. But I reserve judgment. I really.
So you pointed out earlier, really Jorge, you kind of scoffed at the 29 years of age. Do you think that's too old of a player to be coming into Austin FC?
He's entering his years towards the end of the career rather than the beginning.
So I actually think center backs, you can kind of expect them to still reasonably produce. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Coach
if you're in the back,
Alvarez.
usually all the guys start pushing back and back.
I think you can make it into your mid-30s. So 29, that still seems like he would still have a few.
He looks good to me. Looks good.
And when you look at the other center backs on Austin FC's roster, Cascante, Romagna, Kip Keller, the very young players. So I think you could use someone with that veteran experience.
Yeah, he does have that going for him. I will say that he's probably one of the more experienced center backs that they have now.
He's easily the most experienced center back they have right now.
And I've read some comments on Twitterverse that one guy that's making a lot of progress as a center back is Johan Romagna. He's really put in a lot of work in the offseason to get better. So
Johan Romagna he's no longer now he's part of the group that they're not going to use the space for foreigners.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. But
okay,
he, like I said, he is one that dedicated a lot of time to getting better. That doesn't mean that he's a starter, but I think they're getting better. Put it that way.
What do you think Romagna has done, David? Do you think a lot of one-on-one time with Josh Wolf? Is that what's improved Romagna? Do you think?
Well, yeah. No, I mean, I love Romagna. I think it's good. I like the way he plays. When he plays when he tried to play forward, when he say the team really needs some inspiration, he's always, I think, the only one that's tried to.
So if we assume that Gabrielsen is going to slot in as a starter, which I think he be expected to, who do you think should be playing alongside him in Austin FC's starting defense?
Romagna.
Romagna over Cascante?
Yeah. Yeah, Romagna we can cast it definitely. Yeah.
Do you agree?
Agree. Yeah.
Okay, and so as far so this
So we got the defense. We have the goalie. We have what else do we need?
okay, now you just took the next question right out of my mouth, David. Okay, so what do you think? So Austin FC have addressed. I actually think they've done a pretty good job at addressing center back. I mean, Kip Keller, I think, was a really astute pick from the MLS Super Draft, and then you get a guy with European experience, a veteran, 29 years old, and really fits the profile of center back I think Austin FC were looking for. So you add these two pieces, and I think the center back position is looking pretty good. So as far as what else this team needs, what do you think? What do you think Austin FC will do between now and the beginning of the season? And I ask, what do you think they will do, and what do you hope they will do?
Oh well, I think they will probably get a couple more players, right? Couple more players will be in there, and
we can only hope.
I mean, there's a couple. I mean, a couple of the news that they came up like there's 4 players, and now they can get the green cards.
Yeah.
Then we have, I guess, with Miami, with Orlando.
Traded.
Now there was a trade $25,000 exchange for the option for next year draft pick. I believe.
I think so.
So
MLS has some very strange financial.
We're not gonna
and
get
it
into that.
is so many little things. It's like, okay.
I feel like from fans abroad when they look at MLS,
but the
I
main
think
thing-
that's kind of where they put.
but I think the main
like
point
that.
is I think no matter what we can get the best players in the world, but as you know, I don't have faith.
We could get
on
the
Josh
best
Wolf.
players in the world.
It doesn't matter. We can get
Messi and Neymar that didn't show up at Austin FC.
Imagine like what do you think like PSG have been getting the best players in the world and trying to win the Champions League forever, and did they win it?
I hate to break it to you, David, but I think Austin FC and PSG are pursuing players in different markets.
Yeah.
I think a
yes.
different caliber of players.
I'm just
Not
trying to
a
say,
approach by either.
who is going to be the coach? That's
Well,
what
it's
the
going
coach
to
is
be
going to
Josh
do.
Wolf.
And then
Whether
see
you
what,
like it or not, he's going
well,
to
it's going to be the coach. But what he's going to do? What is the new strategy he's going to show? He's going to say he's going to have the same strategy that he had last year, like keeping the ball, control the ball, having a sort of 4-4-3. I want to keep the same.
My apologies, Jorge. David has a fixation on a certain member.
I mean, that's what I want to know. I want to see him. I want to see him playing.
But I actually want to ask you
Because
the question I posed.
you can get many players. You can get a really good midfielder, a really good forward, maybe left wing. But if you don't have what it takes, it doesn't matter. Like we should move on and talk something about eliminatorias for Qatar.
We'll get to that in a moment. I want to pose you, Jorge, the same question that I posed Coach David Alvarez over here.
Okay.
I want to ask you, so what do you think Austin FC is most likely to do as far as player acquisitions between now and the start of the season, and what do you hope Austin FC to do between now and the start of the season? And understand that Austin FC cannot pursue the same players that Paris Saint-Germain can pursue. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Some of us have forgotten the market.
I
that
didn't
Austin
forget
FC
about it at all.
operates in.
It's just a comparison.
They did go out and get a bunch of center backs, and let's not forget there's still the kid that they drafted last year, Kleeman.
Yes, Kleeman.
He I think he played on loan for a little while last year, and then he came back. And the few times we did see him, I don't think he played that badly. So we have
solid.
that. But I seem to think that there's not much on the left and the right back. I mean, apart from Lima and Kolmanic,
Hector Jimenez is the only other name that I think that can fill in at fullback.
Excuse me. So I think what they'll pursue is a couple of guys on the left and on the right. I think for midfield, I think they're set. And I think for striker, I think they're set. Again, we never really got to see a lot of Danny Hosen as striker.
What are your expectations for Hosen this coming season? Do you think we can expect anything positive? We didn't see anything positive.
We didn't see anything from him, but
barely anything.
But I since he wasn't.
David, do you know who Danny Hosen is?
I think I saw him. He looks like a soccer player, but he didn't
I think
act
he
like
stepped
one.
on the field a couple times.
He alleges to be a soccer player. But
He looks like one, but he doesn't act
Austin
like
FC
it.
fans, we've yet to
No.
see it.
That guy, I still think it's Dutch, but I mean, it doesn't matter the nationality, but he doesn't have it. Just like Pochettino didn't have it.
He never really got a chance to show.
No, but he did. No, every month he had enough time to show. He had enough before he got hurt. He showed, and like every time he didn't do anything really. It was like, this guy's a real football player. How did he get this guy? I know Pochettino was okay a little bit above, but I mean, pretty much not that different with Pochettino.
But they kept them, so there must be something that they can
But to keep somebody, sometimes that you feel sorry or something you don't want to for business reason. But
yeah, but I mean, look at
why are you gonna keep somebody like him?
I mean, they cut Ben Sweat, and I think he had a lot more value than than Hosen. So there must be something going on there. But another guy that I'm really interested in seeing is Segura, Ulises Segura.
Yes,
he was injured
I'm
all
excited
season,
to see him as well.
and he looks again, from what I've heard, he looks very, very good. He doesn't have to deal with that injury anymore. So that's they have a lot of guys that were injured last year that we really didn't get to see the full potential. Like going back to your original question, what I would like to see is for them to address the left back and the right back, not exactly to replace Lima or Kolmanic, but just to have a security blanket back there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is what Austin FC will do is just add some fullback depth. I don't think they will add a starting quality player at that position, but I think they will add some depth. What I would like to see, to answer the other half of my own question, I know you really want to hear my thoughts on this, David, but I would love to see an attacking player that definitively makes the first team better and not just a depth signing, because I think Arruti, Finley, I think they're fine rotation options. They're fine depth signings. And I'm with you, where I think Arruti could actually end up being a fairly decent contributor to Austin FC this season. So. But I would just love an attacker that comes in and immediately makes the first team better, because, like you guys, I am not convinced that Danny Hosen is going to be anyone that really gets anyone excited here in Austin as far as leading the line. But, okay, do you guys have anything else Austin FC related that you would like to discuss?
Well, I mean, definitely that you're saying, I think, is the forward. I think that's the key. Not just to have a forward, but anybody that can score. Like, I would love to have our new Norwegian friend to score more goals, using his height.
Yeah.
Right? Why not? So how do you want to play? You want to play set pieces? How the set pieces going to be working with these guys? So I think the practice game is going to be clear picture of what they're trying to do.
Those four preseason games are going to be pretty important.
What are you guys going to be looking for from those games? Like, what do you think what would you see that would give you real optimism for potentially a very good 2022 season? Like what would the good signs be?
I think the best sign for a coach, for me, is to see that is the players.
That a different coach has appeared on the sidelines coaching the team.
Apart from that.
Besides that. But, really that this harmony that the kids are touching the ball more than 5 times and with the purpose, right?
Yeah.
With the purpose, and you have a fun team, and you can see the players and having fun playing while doing the most they can. Give it 100% in the field for the team, and it's a lot of communication you see among all the players. I think that's how you can judge, a team. I mean, that's the way I judge the team.
Yeah.
How tight they are.
Yeah.
At the beginning, of course, they're not going to be that tight, but they need to have the tightness that requires, to be at this level.
Yeah.
How would you have rated Austin FC's tightness in 2021?
Just the same way they were on the table, pretty much,
Yeah.
Not there. Not there.
I totally agree with you, David, that really
you don't have to agree with him.
No,
right? You absolutely can disagree.
In this case, I do agree.
Okay,
because,
making sure you're aware.
Because I think the biggest difference that we're going to see from last year compared to this year is that I think they're pretty much, or going to be pretty much set on all the players that they're going to have for the rest of the season. So, they're already practicing, like you said. I've seen it on Twitter and some of the YouTube and stuff, that the players are having a lot of fun, communicating with each other. And there seems to be some chemistry happening among those guys. And so, full preseason with Driussi and all the guys that they signed. Gite,
as well, I think it will be big.
I think preseason started last Monday, if I'm not mistaken. So,
you're into the practicing of the teams. That's something you kind of monitor. Did you remember when practice started?
No, but what the main thing you're saying is chemistry.
Yeah.
Right? You need to have that chemistry and to see who are the new people, what kind of personality they have. Gabrielsen seems to be like a really nice guy that can adapt to a group pretty quick.
He's got a pretty good sense of humor. I did see a couple of things with
sometimes you have these people, they're not good
nice
for the team.
Nice replacement for Matt Beasler. Matt Beasler, pretty funny guy as well.
Yeah.
But you need to have,
you need guys like that in the team.
But you definitely need a leadership, right?
Yeah, that definitely.
And if you're going to be nowadays in social media, your leader needs to be talking in social media.
Yeah.
So we need to know who the leader is like that.
Yeah, and my bet would be on Driussi. He seems to have that natural leadership ability, and Fagundes. So I think those two guys.
Yeah.
If those two guys can get the rest of the team, gelling together, I think they're going to be much improved over last year, definitely. Despite Josh Wolf and your thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay, let's end it on a nice positive note there, Jorge.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and shift our attention across the pond to the Premier League, where in the weekend's marquee fixture, Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea scored a crucial 2-0 victory over former Chelsea boss Antonio Conte's Tottenham Hotspur. A magnificent curling strike that Edouard Mendy definitely would not have saved.
No.
Opened the scoring for Chelsea. It was a Hakim Ziyech, just magnificent curling strike. So, David, after last weekend's defeat to Manchester City and a disappointing midweek draw away to Brighton, how important was this win for Chelsea? I ask you, Chelsea superfan, David Alvarez.
Well, in any game against Tottenham, it's going to be important, but more than that is against Conte, which is part of the family of Chelsea.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of symbolism.
Still very beloved at Chelsea.
Yeah, it's a lot of symbolism in the game, and I think it's very important. I mean, it still gives us a lame chance to Chelsea to catch with Manchester City mathematically, right? But
That's a very, very slim chance.
Yeah.
and other than that, it's Chelsea needs that. It needs the win. It needs to win. It needs to keep winning, to not be behind Manchester City, but just to go for the Champions League.
Well, it's interesting. So Chelsea entered the match 8 points clear of Spurs, but Spurs actually had 4 matches in hand. So Tottenham had 1. I mean, they would have been 5 points back, but would have had 4 matches in hand. And I think Chelsea would have been looking behind them more so than looking ahead if they had lost this match.
That's going to be the fight for Chelsea, and and all this saga with Lukaku, probably they need to rest that down, and people need to forget about it as soon as possible.
Need to calm that stuff down. Yeah,
so important, very important for Chelsea and for the future of Chelsea this year.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. I mean, Tuchel winning the Champions League last season that theoretically should buy him just a 1-year grace period at the very least. But we've seen things unravel for Chelsea managers very, very quickly. Let us not forget, last season, Frank Lampard, early in December, had Chelsea top of the table.
Yeah.
And it was the following month he's dismissed his managers. So that's how quickly things can unravel at Chelsea. Jorge, do you think this was just a huge win, even just psychologically for Chelsea to get this win after a couple of bad results?
Because I did watch that match, and they were able to get 19 points out of a possible 36, which is not very good. Whereas compared to Man City, they got 36 out of a possible 36. So they obviously overtook Chelsea because they were before this streak started. They were on top of the table just like last year, and then I don't know what happened. They just looked uneven. They didn't look like the strikers were getting very aggressive, and they just lost their mojo. So this win was very, very important because if we look at the table, in front of them is Liverpool with 2 games on hand, and behind them is Manchester United with 2 games on hand. So those two are the ones they need to keep, level with, especially Man United. I mean, with Ronaldo there, you never know when they get on a hot streak and just overtake Chelsea. And then suddenly you have Chelsea.
I actually think Ronaldo being there might hint at them not being able to go on much of a hot streak.
Like I said, you never know. I mean, he's one of those volatile type of players that either he helps the team or he doesn't.
And speaking of that, Jorge, I wanted to ask you, so Romelu Lukaku did not score in this match for Spurs. That may be the one kind of downside of this match from a Chelsea perspective. But do you think that he was perhaps more involved in the attack in this match against Tottenham than he was against City and midweek against Brighton?
Yeah, he was. He looked more active. I think there
were a lot of crosses headed his way, a lot of quick vertical passes into him that I don't think we saw in the previous 2 matches.
Yeah, he I think something must have happened in practice because they looked a lot more in sync with each other. Obviously, as a forward, as a striker, you need the ball to be fed to you. But there were a couple of occasions where he was on one-on-one and did not look out of place. So I think he's getting more comfortable with his teammates.
I think he needs more Inter.
I completely.
I'm talking about
100% disagree with you.
Well, what? It needs more Inter, like input.
Yeah.
Honestly, because in Inter and before in Manchester United, always play with a small forward.
Yeah.
Like he always was playing with a small forward. And with
Well,
Lautaro Martinez,
Timo Werner,
Martinez that was
possibly.
playing with Alexis Sanchez, always a small forward with them. But in this case, he's taking most of the responsibility by himself.
Yeah.
So he needs another small forward there, which I don't think.
Do you think
is
Timo
there.
Werner fits that profile?
He could, but they haven't played together.
Yeah, them played together.
I remember Chelsea doesn't have some problems like putting some forwards together.
There is a question about the attacking players that they have and how well they actually fit together. Chelsea in the transfer market seemed to go for the brightest, biggest name available as opposed to who actually fits into their squad. And so, that we'll see. I think overall, considering he was injured, considering he had COVID, considering Chelsea played a million matches in the past, however many days, I'm okay on Lukaku. The future, I think, is going to be better than what we've seen up to this point.
I want to ask you a question then.
What do you got, Jorge?
Do you think Tuchel's criticism of his forwards helped them? Because he criticized him starting with the Manchester City match. He let him have it. Do you think that helped them, motivated them? Is that kind of a tactic that Tuchel uses for that, or?
It's possible. I think really in the case, the guy that really stood out to me in this match was Ziyech. And not even just the goal. Obviously the goal was brilliant, but I think it was Ziyech kind of playing in a more like traditional wide right wing role, and able to kind of cut in and shoot on his left foot, make passes with his left foot. I think that really helped him as opposed to what we saw after that in that Brighton match. I mean, he was playing essentially kind of as a wing back, and having to push forward from that deeper position, which I don't think really suits Ziyech's strength. So I think, sure, maybe hey, you guys aren't playing very good. Maybe that motivated them. But I think also just tactically, Ziyech was in a position where he was more comfortable.
Right.
And I think Ziyech playing in a role that suits him more, that benefits Lukaku, that benefits Caleb Hudson-Odoi, it just benefits the attack overall.
Right.
When you have a player like that in a position where he's most comfortable.
Because one thing that obviously that I did notice is that Christian Pulisic was he looked visibly upset during the Brighton match because he was on the bench and he didn't get into the game. So that probably bothered him a little bit. And then he didn't even feature. I don't think he was even on the bench for the game against Tottenham. So, interesting segue because we're going to talk about the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers in a few minutes here, but. I fear for Pulisic that his days at Chelsea are numbered. I think he's probably gonna weigh his options. Since he's obviously a good quality player still, so he is drawing attention from Barcelona, Real Madrid, a lot of La Liga teams. So I kind of foresee him moving on, to be honest. I don't know.
David, say it ain't so. Is Christian Pulisic going to leave Chelsea Football Club?
He's going to leave?
Is he? Do you think he will leave Chelsea Football Club?
I mean, I know the point that you have that he's not really cutting it right now. But
Yeah.
Do you think that's an issue? Did he just not fit tactically at Chelsea, or do you think he's not playing well enough? What do you think? It's making you sick just thinking about it, isn't it?
it needs to explode, We need explosion and to be constant. Like, he has.
I mean, he is playing all over. He's played at right wing back. He's played at center forward. He's played in the kind of
and I think
midfield.
Honestly, like when we're talking about before, like what do you need? He's kind of a small forward. That's just he play more with Lukaku.
So you think that in kind of like a strike partnership in the Lautaro Martinez role with
Lukaku, I think would be perfect for him, and it would work good for him.
I hate to say it, David, but I agree with you.
Okay.
I think that could
we're
help.
not supposed to agree here.
We're supposed to be at each other's throats. This isn't
get
happening.
the best out of him. But yeah, I think really he needs a settled position and a consistent run of matches, and that would do him a lot of good. Okay, but I do want to address real quick here before we move on to the World Cup qualifiers. I would like to discuss the possible return of the title race. Manchester City drew 1-1 away at Southampton, while Liverpool were victorious 3-1 away to Crystal Palace. So, of course, David, that means the title race is back on, right?
No, it's not.
We want people to stay tuned in to the show. So we need to try to create some drama here and tell them there's a title race.
It's just little rain. I mean, just a tie. One tie doesn't show much. I mean, Manchester City is gonna win it. No problem. Everybody needs to use the calculator to try to get it there, but they don't need the calculator anymore. So
Yeah.
Jorge, try to keep us some viewers here.
I
Tell them the title
disagree.
race is back on. What do you
disagree.
think?
Because like I mentioned earlier, Liverpool has 2 games on hand. So if they manage to win a couple of those games, that's 6 points. They're, right now, look at the table. Man City's 57.
Just one match in hand right now.
I'm sorry. I was looking at Chelsea. Okay. So if they manage to win that next game, they're at 51 points against 57. It's not like I think that they're going to
6-point gap, David.
Yeah, it's not like they're going to overtake them, but Manchester City better take care of its business because Liverpool's going to be on their heels the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
they have 34 games, I think is
You played 38 matches.
38 matches, so got 12, 13 matches to go. So Manchester better keep winning because Liverpool's not going to let
they
go.
better. Okay.
Do
Hey,
you think
Pep, please keep winning. Otherwise, Jorge is going to win the bet.
So Southampton, though, their approach in this match against City, that just low block, 4-4-2, quick strike on the counterattack, is that still the best way to play against this Manchester City team?
What, like a 4-4-2, you say?
Yeah, just like kind of sit deep, frustrate
4-4-2 is good, yeah. Anything like less than 2 in top against them.
Because I think you need to have that presence up top. It can't just be a lone forward where you're just hitting it long.
No, because you're not going to have that many chances.
Yeah, you need to give the City
a little bit
center
pressure.
Something to think
You got to
about.
keep pressure. I mean, you got to run as crazy with Manchester City. You need to run and run like you're in the crazy Rondo doing it. Just because they're going to do it to you. If you don't run, you're in trouble.
Yeah, right. You heard it here. Just play a 4-4-2 and you can beat Manchester City. So that should mean, a nice, easy Premier League title win for Liverpool.
Yep. Nice. Yeah. They'll catch them just like the weekend's football games in the NFL. Those were very exciting, by the way.
Not going to happen.
Okay, so,
All right.
David, without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and get to your favorite part of this week's show. And we're going to talk a little CONCACAF.
Oh, CONCACAF. I thought you were talking about Marcelo Bielsa and Leeds United or Real Betis update.
We could talk
we'll
about
we'll get that at the end
that Leeds United conceded. We addressed that in the intro. But no, I want to talk a little CONCACAF because CONCACAF World Cup qualifying returns this Thursday. And for the U.S. men's national team, that means they will be playing El Salvador. They'll be also taking on Canada and Honduras across this round of fixtures. Jorge,
Yeah.
you're the. I'm gonna spare you for just a moment on the CONCACAF talk, David. I know.
Yeah.
Feel free to interject. I know you got a lot of thoughts. But as far as these three matches, the El Salvador and Honduras matches will be played on U.S. soil,
Right.
and the U.S. will be playing in a very, very cold away match at Canada. So as far as these three matches go, what would represent a good points haul for the U.S. from these three fixtures?
7 points.
That is exactly what I wrote down.
Both wins at Honduras and against who else are they playing? Honduras and
Canada.
yeah,
Yeah, I think you try and
El Salvador.
a point it away.
El Salvador and Honduras at
Essentially
home.
on the ice in Canada would
Yeah,
be fine.
I mean, Canada's a very, 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 very tough team. They showed it last round when
No
they beat
Alfonso
Mexico.
Davies for this.
It's the
No Alfonso
CONCACAF
Davies, that is
Giants,
true.
the actual CONCACAF Giants.
Yeah, they're actually
You're
the
going
leaders
to,
of the
El
to
group.
offend
Gigante.
a few
It-
people in this room
I mean-
if you start talking like that, David.
Yeah, but I mean,
The real one.
the fact that Alfonso Davies is not playing, I think it's going to be a little bit of a factor because obviously he's their best player and he's their
Still got
best
the great
forward.
Taj Buchanan.
They still have all those guys, so the core of the team is still there, but the talent that the U.S. I think they just released a roster and the only notable guy that's missing is Gio Reyna, who's still injured.
One day we will see Gio Reyna
Someday
play
we'll see
soccer
him back.
again. One day.
But you know, I feel sorry for the kid.
Hopefully playing with his dad team. Anyways.
You never know, but like I said, we're
Pretty good on the wing for
yeah.
us,
Like,
I'd
but
say.
PSG and Austin aren't looking for the same players. I mean, we established that already. But I fully expect it to be much tighter game than the one against Mexico. Mexico, they did not look good at Canada, and you know it's going to be sub-zero temperatures or sub-freezing temperatures.
Our producer may cut the show if you say that again.
Yeah,
Jorge, about Mexico playing poorly away to Canada. So, be careful.
But
Tread
I
lightly
think I think psychologically the loss against the U.S. it affected them in the game against Canada because they looked more desperate to try to at least get a draw, and it just didn't happen for them. So that put them in a little bit of a tighter spot. But I still think they'll qualify. They'll probably qualify. I don't think they'll lead the group, but I think they'll qualify, especially with the next couple of games. I mean, Jamaica has suddenly looked very formidable, so they're going to
they've
play
been playing
them.
much better.
And they're also going to play Costa Rica, who's always tough. But I think those two games are going to be behind closed doors. There's going to be no crowd. So I don't know how much that'll affect them. Probably not much. I mean, Mexico's always a very strong team at home or on the road. So I expect it to be as tough without any spectators. So
Yeah, David was telling me before the show he likes Honduras' chances down there on 3 points right now in the CONCACAF standings. He said every game's a must-win.
But
he really likes.
But,
really likes
I
Honduras.
like the fact that Honduras still have remote chances and they can really make it harder for the other teams. I mean, not that I'm an Honduras fan, but they can make it harder.
They play all the teams very tough. That is true.
But going back to Canada, United States, I have to say that they have played several games already in the past year. We have the Gold Cup game that was like a very disappointing that the U.S. ended up winning that game, but it's totally
disappointing for who?
for Canada because they dominated the game. Canada dominated the game and ended up with the empty hands. But they showed then and then show a little bit later during the qualifying games that they're the real thing. And that just for nothing, they're number one in the CONCACAF.
If we recall, Honduras lost 4-1 at home against the U.S., and they lost 3-0 at home against Mexico. So if they were able to put up that kind of, performance at home, I don't expect that much of a better performance on the road. Maybe against Mexico because I think they're one of the teams that they're playing behind closed doors. Yeah. But, Honduras is one of those scrappy type teams that they're very physical, that it'll make the game interesting. Put it that way.
We've got the that first round of fixtures up on the screen right now. What match stands out to you guys there? I think that Costa Rica Panama should be a pretty intriguing one with Panama on 14 points in that fourth spot. Which would mean that they would be going to a playoff against, I believe it's New Zealand is what it's looking like right now.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, you got Costa Rica on 9 points, just 5 points back. So Costa Rica win it, and they're right back in the hunt. So to me, that's the match that stands out.
But Jamaica, Mexico, I think is going to be.
And then we're on to that second round, and it is very clearly that Canada-U.S. match. That is going to be so much fun. I mean, I hope that they bring skates, maybe not ice skates instead of cleats. Might be the more appropriate footwear for this one, based on what I'm seeing about the weather forecast.
A lot of layered clothing, I think, is going to be seen there.
But the big thing is, like, the last game, you don't have to worry about it that much, right? Honduras, El Salvador, there's nothing really to play for.
So you're off the Honduras bandwagon.
For pride.
Okay, then there are the final round of fixtures, which will be taking place on February 2nd. And, I mean, the Mexico-Panama should be an absolutely exhilarating, even though it's behind closed doors.
But
it should be a very good fixture.
The points that are staged in there, they're very important. And as you can see, that Jamaica...
And it's much better when it's on the screen as opposed to me trying to read it off the paper here in front of me. So that is awesome. That is...
But
that's how they treat us here at Club Deportes. They know what makes a good show.
Yeah. They give us the stats.
Really love that.
Well, hey, guys, before going...
And there's your Honduras, David, right there, holding up the rest of the table. I love it.
You be careful with Jamaica, because Jamaica's been playing undefeated the last 3 games.
I think so.
Antonio is really hot. Michael Antonio is really hot. And it's going to be tough.
He's struggling a bit for West Ham right now, but when he puts on a Jamaica shirt, he absolutely...
No, it's going to be very tough for Mexico. It's going to be tough to play against Jamaica, because they have chances. And Costa Rica do, and Panama, of course, is the behind Mexico. I think Panama is going to be likely the other qualifier. I think it's going to be just like the way it is right now. But I don't know. United States. I hope United States doesn't make it.
Really?
No,
wow.
Yeah.
Again?
Wow.
I don't know, because we need to give the opportunity to Panama. Remember when Panama led the U.S.
You are aware the show airs in the United States, David. That most of our viewers reside in the United States.
Just make it interesting.
Well, I'll tell you what, David. Just for you, we're going to talk a little Conmebol, and I actually got something for the conversation.
Yeah.
This is a little prop here. When we talk Conmebol, I just want to make sure we have something that really represents Conmebol football. So I got this prop.
Honestly, I don't approve of that. I don't approve of that. And I think it's just disrespectful. No, really.
I think it's a nice accessory for our desk here. But
put that stuff away. Come on, guys.
Let's go ahead. If we're going to talk Conmebol, this is the sacrifice that you have to make. You have to allow the prop that Jorge and I like to have.
Let's have Copa America, right, with the CONCACAF and the Conmebol all the time, and then we can talk about it. But before that, you just keep it in CONCACAF. Keep it in CONCACAF, please.
Yeah, we should have brought it up for CONCACAF, because that's probably over.
Copa Oro. That's Copa Oro. That's Copa Oro. That's the way it is.
Here we go, though, David. Here we go. Match week 15. What stands out to you here? Why did I even ask that? I know it's Chile, Argentina. What's your confidence level heading into this match? Chile right now in 6th position in the standings. So as of now, they would not qualify for the 2022 World Cup.
Yeah, and I think it's really pretty much the big game over there, and it's going to be playing in Calama in the altitude.
And somehow you have convinced Argentina not to bring Lionel Messi.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier, and actually he's not going to play. PSG requested for him not to go since Argentina is already qualified to the World Cup, and they say yes, he's not going. So that's one thing less to worry about it. And besides all the COVID, and Vidal is not going to play because he got 2 yellow cards. The red card against Ecuador with his crazy kick high kick.
Yeah, that
But
was unfortunate.
but Chile, I think great chances to win over Argentina. A great rival in there. It's going to be, of course, a big game in the desert, Atacama Desert. But right after that, in few more days, Chile plays Bolivia in La Paz at the high altitude.
You're jumping out. You're too fast for our producer there, David. We're still on match
I'm going
15.
Oh yeah, well, the other game is very important for Ecuador to play Brazil,
I
right?
tell you, Paraguay, Uruguay.
Paraguay
is very, very
Paraguay
intriguing
is
as well.
now and never, because now I think Barro Esqueloto is the new coach for Paraguay, and Uruguay has a new coach as well. Both are new coaches, and Uruguay really needs to win this game.
And I
because
wouldn't sleep on Colombia and Peru. Both teams
that's
on
I think
17 points.
actually that would be the Peru and Colombia is the biggest game.
Yeah.
It is. So right now, because right now in this
Because both of them are not qualifying. Both of those want to qualify. Argentina qualify against Chile is going to be big because of this Clásico. But other than that, the biggest game is
you
going to
have
be
positions 4 through 9 in the standings, separated by just 4 points.
Yeah.
That is extremely tight.
Peru.
And there we have the table right there for everyone to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 35 points. Brazil, Argentina already qualify, and Ecuador is 23. Colombia 17, Peru
I am
17.
going to have to practice
Chile
my
16.
Spanish before next week's show. so I
Uruguay
can
16, Bolivia
understand
15, and
these
Paraguay
tables.
15. So everybody, even Venezuela with 7 points, it still have a chance.
Better.
Even, but it's the farthest away. But Paraguay 13 and Bolivia have chances. Not everybody still has chances, but these two games.
So I just want to clarify, David. Liverpool have no chance in the Premier League, but Venezuela have a chance in the Conmebol qualification stage. I just want to make sure I'm following the train of logic here.
Well, it is logic, but Venezuela still have chances.
They're all still in it, but
because everybody, yeah.
I will say this. I think Chile. I'll make a prediction right now.
Okay.
I think
didn't
Chile
even ask
will
this
beat
before.
Argentina, and I think Peru and Colombia are going to tie, which would put
Probably
Chile
0-0
on
based
third
on
place.
Colombia's recent result.
And
So
then
Chile's going to win.
Chile's going to win both Argentina and against Bolivia, even though they're going to play in altitude. I have confidence in Chile, and
That's the way
I think they'll be in third place. I always.
That would be.
Not just because of your presence here, but Chile's always been one of my favorite teams from South America.
Yeah.
Because they're almost on the cusp of getting to Argentina, Brazil level.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah,
just
it's-
need a little
and
something.
of
Are you
course,
hoping David buys
seven-
you a hat like the one he has? You
Sure.
angling for something like that from him?
I know so
I'm
many
trying
people
to understand
really
why you're-
always remember the 7-0 to Mexico and Copa America.
Yeah,
so-
that's always got
Right.
a little place in my heart. But
Yeah.
but ever
What's a
since
special night?
ever since they won Copa Centenario, that's
Yeah.
when I really fell in
Well,
love with this
both
team.
World Cup back to back. I mean, both Copa America. Sorry,
Yeah.
Copa America,
Yeah.
2015, 2016.
Yeah, I remember the first one. Yeah, it was,
very special
very
moment.
impressive.
But for everybody, and they have the golden generation. We still have the golden generation.
Yeah, we still have some guys.
It's a
there.
little bit older than supposed to be, but it's
but
still
Sure,
getting
that's
there.
not the,
They still. I mean, they're
Fools
guys.
still there.
golden
They still have
generation
guys
at
in
this
Europe,
point?
so you know.
Sure, it's not the Fools golden generation at this point.
No.
we get some better tone. We got some new guys coming up, so there's hope. There is hope.
Yeah, I think they'll be. I think they'll.
What,
I have
what
much
do you expect
confidence in
from
them.
Ben Brereton?
Ben Brereton,
this-
the same thing as done in Blackburn Rovers, right? Scoring goals, and he scored 3 goals in the last games for Chile. So I expect the same thing. He's coming up.
Yeah.
After he played that, he became like a national sensation in Chile and in,
Actually, has
in
a
Great
street
Britain.
named after him, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah, even I put my name, Alvarez Diaz.
You changed your
Brereton
name?
Diaz, Alvarez Diaz. Put it in my back.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I'm Alvarez Diaz. I mean,
Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot here, David. The 5 teams, so the 4 that will automatically qualify and the 5th that will go to the playoff. Who
Yeah.
are they in Conmebol?
Well, Coca Cup, we already got Brazil, Argentina, and then we have Ecuador and Colombia.
Ecuador are a great story, aren't they?
Ecuador, great story. They have the World Cup. They did really well in the Youth World Cup, and they kept most of the team now playing right now. Very young. They have a lot of talent all over the place, and then we'll see. Colombia, Rueda, of course, I don't have any belief in Rueda, as I said before.
Can he do
So
anything
Peru
other than
has
achieve a
more
0-0?
chances. I think Peru has more
Yeah.
chances than and Uruguay have all the material, but who knows what the new coach is going to bring? It's really an experiment to do at the end of the qualifying games.
Yeah.
So,
But Chile is going to make it as the last one.
so
You
you've
think
got
so? You think
Brazil, Argentina, Ecuador, Peru, Chile.
Yeah.
Jorge, what about you?
Pretty much the same. I mean that Uruguay Paraguay game is super important. If Uruguay does not get out of that game with points, I think they're
A tie
I think
is going to be
it's going to be
condemn both
super
of them.
difficult.
A tie is going to be really bad for both of those teams.
And loss would be just disastrous.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be able to come back to even to fifth place. So that's going to be unfortunately, since we're in Austin, we won't able to be seeing those Conmebol games unless we pay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But-
Look at
Oh, there we go.
Hey,
that.
Look at that.
Right.
La
there.
selección chilena.
What do you think they're watching there, David? They're
think
watching
they-
Futbol En Vivo.
I
They're
think-
watching Futbol En
They're
Vivo.
I think they like my
Futbol En
prediction.
Vivo. Well, they're not going to like mine because I'm going to go Brazil, Argentina, obviously, because they've already qualified.
Yeah.
I will go Ecuador, Peru, and Colombia.
Of course you're going to go for Colombia. Of course you're going to go for
Oh, well,
Colombia.
yeah. I wonder why.
I mean, but, honestly, Colombia, man by man, the players, I mean, they definitely
They are
should.
going to 0-0 their way all
They
the way to
should
Qatar.
they have such
That's all
a
they
talent.
need to do. I mean,
But they lack the same thing that Austin FC lacks,
Goals, yeah.
or a coach.
Was that the issue at? Was that well,
what
two
it-
things, I guess.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Both of those
all
things.
of them.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Was that the problem that you had with Reda at Chile? Just too conservative, just dire.
Yeah, he
football?
was very, very conservative. He did some good things, right?
Was this a good representation of the football?
Rueda and many other. I mean, I'm sorry, but many coaches from that area, that they don't have my respect. But yeah.
No respect on.
Respect.
Oh, look at this
look
right
at that.
here.
Oh
Hey,
my
what's that
God.
Mexico in the front? Come on now.
El gigante de la CONCACAF, the giant of CONCACAF. I thought it was Canada. What? But Canada's not even there. Jesus
Wow,
God.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. What
we'll
to
have to talk to
make of
production
this
about
here.
that.
It's Haiti over Canada there. Oh my
I'm not
goodness.
quite sure I understand the
Yeah,
meaning
that
of
was
that.
kind of
The
a-
The new
meme there.
CONCACAF giant is
like,
Canada
yeah,
there. It's all news over there.
Okay, all right, guys. I think we are out of time here for this week's show. We will be back next week, Mondays, 10 p.m. on clubdeportes.com. We are Futbol En Vivo. Appreciate you guys. We will do this again next week.
Yep.